Yeah. Jacob Rees-Mogg.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, thank you very much. It's a great pleasure to follow on in this debate from my honourable friend from West Suffolk, who made a fantastic maiden speech, and we all now know to be very careful where we blow our nose in his constituency. It's a great honour to be elected for North East Somerset. From my family, it's a great honour. My father, or my noble kinsman, Lord Rees-Mogg, as I'm now meant to call him, told me that between him, myself and my sister, we had tried 7 times with 1 victory. I fear if we were a football team, people would be calling for the manager to be removed. But it is also an enormous honour to be elected for North East Somerset, which is where I was brought up and where my family have lived for generations. And as everybody knows, Somerset is God's own county, and North East Somerset is God's own part of God's own county. I inherit the seat from 2 very distinguished gentlemen, from the honourable member, my honourable friend from Bath, who I'm very glad is now my honourable friend, because I discovered when canvassing that a lot of people unaware of boundary changes were still intending to vote for him. When they discovered they could no longer do so, they turned out to be lifelong Conservatives. So I welcome him to the peer-light coalition that we now have. The main part of the constituency was the old Wansdyke seat, inherited from Mr Dan Norris, a most distinguished member of the Labour benches and a parliamentary private secretary to the Right Honourable Member for South Shields, and he's probably sorely missed at the moment during a leadership election. He was the model of an assiduous constituency MP, worked tirelessly both as an Avon County Councillor and as a Member of Parliament, and I indeed have large shoes to fill. But turning to North East Somerset, as I said, God's own part of God's own county, it is a great place in British history. I'm not going to go back at any great length to Bladad, who in 683 BC founded Bath, having gone from North East Somerset and found some pigs who had a skin disease, and they washed in the waters of Bath, and Bladad, father of King Lear, founded Bath from North East Somerset. He's a rather peripheral figure, but Alfred the Great is more substantial. Alfred the Great, you must remember, in 678 AD, was just really having Somerset left. The Danes were all around. They had begun to take over all of Wessex, and they had much of the rest of England. But Alfred brought together the people of Somerset, of Wiltshire, and of parts of Hampshire, and they crossed over from the Somerset levels through North East Somerset to near Chippenham, to Eddington, and there they fought the great battle on which our freedoms depend. They put paid to Danish occupation, and Alfred, a great lawgiver, a man we should think about in this debate particularly because he didn't want to innovate laws, he wanted to codify laws, he wanted to tell people what ancient rights they had and how they ought to have their liberties. So he was able to expel the Danes, and his grandson became the first King of England on borders we would recognise to this day. Moving a little bit later, the next great figure from North East Somerset is Alphege, Archbishop of Canterbury, born in Weston, a village bordering North East Somerset and Bath. He is really the first tax martyr. He was called upon to pay the Danegeld, and he took £48,000 to the Danes then at Greenwich and handed it over, and they said, "Mr. Alphege, we would like some more, and if you don't give us more, we're going to hold on to you as a hostage." And Alphege replied that I won't give you more, I will not put higher taxes on my people. I will not have them suffer this imposition. And so they threw ox bones at Alphege until he died. Now I hope that people won't find it necessary to throw ox bones at me, but I think as another representative from North East Somerset, I will stand constantly for low taxation. And the final figure I'm going to mention in this great pantheon of wonderful figures from God's own part of God's own county is John Locke, brought up in Boluton, and this really is a sop to the Whig coalition that we now have. The philosopher of the Whigs and in many ways the founder of the Constitution that we now have, and a Constitution that has as its essence that power comes from the people up to the legislature, which is there to supervise the executive. You will all know that the argument at the time was about the divine right of kings, and some may now think we have another form of divine right of the executive. Locke made it clear that the duty of the legislature was to check and to stop the executive exceeding the powers, the rights and the authority that it had from time immemorial. We take these three great Somerset men. Alfred the Great, the first Eurosceptic. He got rid of the Danes and made England independent. Alfage, the low-tax martyr, and John Locke, for the legislature, for the people, against the executive. However long I represent North East Somerset for, I will take these three as my great heroes and hope to model my political words on their thoughts. Mr. Deputy Speaker, thank you very much.